Felix here, and welcome to this no longer echoey pre-morning live stream. And well, inflation didn't quite do what we wanted it to do. Jobless claims didn't quite do what we wanted them to do, and the market isn't particularly happy about it. Let me run you through the numbers. Let me show you what the damage looks like, so you are the best informed investor out there and you can make a boatload of money, which is really what this is all about, isn't it? I thought that's what it was all about. I feel this may be important. I think you might be right. Our friend there from Nebraska. So I'll share my screen with you. I'll run you through the data. We look at the market. I'll take your questions. That's sort of the idea here. So inflation has done it again. Whoops, I did it again. She's back. And she is back at 3.3%, which is higher than the 3.2% we were expecting. We were expecting 3.2%. And the difference might sound slight, but it is, as you can see here, a bit of an uptick. Doesn't mean, therefore, it's going to have to go through the roof, but it's sort of a, we didn't really want that, did we? And what it also means is that, yes, you are still getting paid less. Your real hourly earnings are less than they were in 2020. You might want to show this chart to your employer and ask for a raise. That's what inflation does, by the way. It just undermines your purchasing power, which is a horrible thing. Inflation is probably the worst thing to happen to kind of middle and lower income people, because it just makes them horribly, horribly poorer. And therefore, it's a horrible, horrible policy to cause inflation. Now, at the same time, the brightest minds that work at the Fed are doing what? That red line here is what we call M2, if you're a snooty economist like I used to be. And it's basically saying we're printing money. Excuse me, I'm a little bit thirsty. The blue line here is inflation, CPI inflation. And you can see that the two have a pretty sort of lovey-dovey relationship. You print money, you cause inflation. It's very, very simple. At the moment, you're printing money, so you're likely to cause inflation. So the question, of course, is therefore, is inflation going to do this again? And are we therefore in for higher interest rates and more pain and more misery and all that kind of stuff? What does Trueflation say? That's actually a very, very good question, my friend. Who said that? Amy said that. Let's have a look at Trueflation. This is a private, as I'm far aware, company that tracks a gazillion data points to come up with inflation. Now, compounded inflation since 2020. Okay, that sounds a little bit like they might be on the Republican side of the ticket. Don't you think? That's a little bit what that sounds like, if that's the opening screen. So that data point isn't as useful as we'd like it to be. They've changed that. It used to show us what the actual inflation rate was. Let's see if it shows us that on the US inflation index. Let's see if we can pull that up. That seems like a bit of political statement. 2%. But look, they're saying it's picking up. It was 1.5%, now it's 2%. So the trend is still correct. Whether it's 2% or 3%, it sort of doesn't really matter, to be honest with you. But the trend here is what's worrying. We got that uptick in inflation data, but thanks very much, Amy, for that suggestion. Some of you still getting those bloody ads. I actually had my Wi-Fi reset today by my telecoms company. Let's see if that works. I hope it is. I hope it works. If not, we will, I don't know, lay a new cable or something. So a little bit concerning there. And of course, the doom and gloom scenario is this. The green line here is the 1970s inflation. This is the thing that Fed presidents wake up to in cold sweat in the middle of the night, thinking of this chart. And then red is now. So we had the mad COVID money printing thing, which of course nobody's acknowledging. All the inflation caused was because of money printing. It's entirely the Fed's fault. And the question therefore is, are they going to do the same stupid thing again and let inflation go through the roof again? So that's kind of jip. Okay, I'm glad it's not freezing for you. Touch wood. Now, there is a bit more news we need to absorb this morning before we look at some of our favorite stocks. And I'll tell you, I've got a new achievement today, which I shall share with you in a moment as well. The FOMC minutes were out yesterday, and it seems fairly unlikely that we're going to get another big cut because there were some participants, those are Fed presidents, observed that they would have preferred a 25 basis point reduction, and a few others indicated that they could have supported such a decision. So it sort of sounds like they went in and maybe just about the majority pushed for 50, and they all said, we'll do it almost unanimously just to show that we are, one in spirit. But there are a few doubters. You look at the higher inflation number now, very, very unlikely you're going to get another big rate cut. You might even get a skip. You might even get a month where they don't cut. And that's not really what the market's pricing in. And that's bad for stock prices. Very, very simple, right? Playing a cable. 50 was probably a little bit much. But it gets a little bit worse, just to cheer you up here this morning. Everything is terrible. The world's about to end, bury the children, that sort of thing. That would be a bit extreme. But Felix told me to do that. So the initial jobless claims here, we were expecting about 230,000 people to be freshly virgin unemployed. And we got about 258,000 people, which is significantly more. And what does that mean? Well, if you just believe the data, I rarely believe the data, but normally the data is cooked to make it look like they are less unemployed because people are trying to get re-elected. This would basically say to you, weak economy. So you've got a weak economy and you've got a higher inflation. That is literally the worst outcome you could ever get. That's called stagflation. So it's only one data point, I wouldn't freak out yet. There's no really need to do that. If you're in Florida, stay indoors. It's still worth it, yes. But it's just something we got to watch. We got to monitor that inflation is ticked up from what we were expecting it to be. It's increased slightly from last month on an annualized basis. So, yeah, that's kind of the concern here. YouTube doesn't like me. That's quite possible. So what do we do about it? Look, we kind of just make money. That's kind of the intention. So, we made so far this year $28,000, a bit more than that on a $30,000 portfolio. That's our teaching portfolio. That is about 94%. You want to learn how we do that? Come and join me on Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. New York time at felixprehn.com/bootcamp. The link's down below in the description. And it's a free beginner bootcamp, and I'll share with you our strategies and we'll have some fun. So if you're interested in that, check that out. Now, no other news today. The end stream ends here. No, I'm kidding. This is the reaction on the S&P. 8:30 here is when the data came out, and we're now trading a little bit down. Not horribly down, but a little bit down. A couple of points down. We look at, say, QQQ, the good old NASDAQ. By the way, in Trade Vision, we now have 5-minute charts, which is cool if they load, when they load. And the 1-minute chart's coming up soon as well. I've seen it in the staging today. So we were at 492. Now we're at 490. It's not the end of the world again, is it? But it's definitely that, feeling a little bit worried about that. If we look at the guys that make the market, like NVIDIA, Milton creating inflation. So NVIDIA seems, I don't have pre-market data. Oh, no. We're at lack of data there, but we're down here at 131. So we've definitely dropped. Let me pull up a chart that will show you that. Hang on. Let me take a screenshot and see why do we have no data, and we'll fix that hopefully by tomorrow. If you didn't realize yet, Trade Vision is something that we built, hence my mumbling to myself when things don't work, which happens. So NVIDIA here on a minute chart. Yeah, You see the inflation data came in. We were at 132. Now we're 131. Again, not the end of the world, but we lost $1, which isn't marvelous. We're down 0.7% now pre-market. Tesla still looked green when I just looked. Yep, still 0.6% up, but still losing a bit on the inflation thingy-majiggy there. Some of our other favorite tech stocks like Palantir, also down 0.5 point. SoFi, big beneficiary of rate cuts, is down 1.3%. So the more rate sensitive the beast, the more it's going to be affected today. Stan says, I blame Cholula. Are you serious? Where did she go? Oh no, she's escaped. Cholula is absolutely innocent. Katja, hello there in Sydney. Appreciate you tuning in for more than 12 months. That's a nice little tag there you got next to your name. Thank you very much. Do you think the weak dollar has added to inflation? I mean, it will moderately. It will moderately, but I don't think it's that big a deal. I think if you look at inflation, I think it's mostly, if I remember correctly, it's car insurance. I think it's medical expenses or medical insurance. I think that's the main culprit of the inflation data this morning. So I don't think it's really the imports all that much. Anders says you're not getting emails on the new algo. Okay, thanks very much for that, Anders. We'll fix that for you. I get them, I believe, but I will double check it. I appreciate any feedback on our little software because that's how we make it better, right? And that's why it's important that we use it. And I appreciate you guys shouting stuff out. We did have a buy signal on Apple yesterday, I think, although it's been a bit of a ziggity-zaggity thing there, right? In and out and in and out. Still looks pretty good at 229, but it still needs to take out the 233 here and the 234. Although our little algorithm has been pretty good, hasn't it? It's more than doubled the buy and hold return since the beginning of 22 with just buying it when it says green, buy it. But it struggled a little bit here with the sideways action. I think I'd wait a little bit. I'd probably wait till we either get a lot of volume and break through 233 or we just break through 234.80 up here. Celsius is flying. Yes, I saw that. Celsius is sort of back from the dead. Does that mean I want to buy it? I'm a bit cautious on stuff that is a falling knife like this. Let me tell you why. The problem with this is that every time it goes up just a little bit, right? Every time it goes up a little bit. So say it goes up to here, which would be, I don't know, $35. All of these guys here are now back in the green, right? What do? They sell because they're back to zero and it feels good to be back to zero. And then say you get some more buy momentum and you go all the way up to here. Well, no, now all of these guys who bought here and have been back holding for ages, now they sell and so on. So you have a lot of up resistance above. So usually the way to get out of these things is for the stock to basically do nothing for about a year. That's sort of ideal, maybe even a little longer. And then you have most people who've already given up, and that way it's easier to break out. That's a little bit there. Stan says, could trade vision be used to show where the bids and asks are? You mean on stock prices? You want to see the difference? Is that what you mean, Stan? Let me know. Isn't today that Elon announces the robotaxi? Should be go all in? Absolutely. You should mortgage the house, you should sell the children and the wife, and you should go all in on Tesla today. I'm kidding, obviously. No, that's not a sensible thing to do. I do have a Tesla position open, which I did not close. We'll see whether that was a good idea or not in hindsight. But I'm a long-term Tesla bull. It doesn't matter all that much whether we're up or down 5 or 10% to me at this point. But from a chart point of view, well, there is the little thing of these 2 points here, which basically sit at 260. You got to take those out. If you do, we go nuts. No buy signal here at the moment from our little indicator, which has beaten buy and hold by 125%, by the way. So definitely been a worthwhile indicator on the Tesla front. Okay. Smash the like buttons, my friend. We'll run you through the inflation number again. We just do a recap if you just tuned in. Dale, you want level 2 data. So you want the, like, at least one of these colorful bid and ask type things. Is that what you want? Do you actually find that useful? Do you actually look at that? I never actually look at that. Tesla will definitely go up or down. I'm absolutely with you on that. Or sideways. Yes, Stan's the smart one there. It is also possible it'll go sideways, but it'll definitely go up, down, or sideways. I think that's a fair prediction for today. A bit like saying that it's going to be wet and windy in Florida here. Customers without power at the moment, apparently about 3 million. It's kind of staggering, and this is no dig. Actually, it is a dig. How one of the wealthiest countries in the world and one of the wealthiest states in the US does not figure this out. I don't understand it, to be honest with you. And I think it's a massive failing on the parts of the people who run that country or that state, because you should figure this out. This happens every year, not on the scale, but you should be able to put power lines in a way that means the lights don't go out. There are lots of countries in the world that get these kind of hurricanes. We get them here. I'm in Hong Kong at the moment, right? We get them all summer. Same thing, absolutely the same thing. Ridiculous amounts of water comes down. Everything is flooded and, everything gets washed away. Does our power go out? No. Does the Wi-Fi go out? No. You can do it. Probably just costs a bit more. So yeah, I don't really understand that, to be honest with you. Rather than sending all that money to, I don't know, Ukraine or wherever you're sending it, just put the fucking power lines in the ground, right? It wouldn't be that hard. Now, of course, I hope everybody who's in Florida is going to be good. So there is obviously massive rainfall coming. I don't know how long this is going to take, but a while. It looks pretty hideous if you are on the, wow, look at that. If you look on social media, it looks fairly serious. I hope everyone's all right over there. It keeps people employed. Yeah, but it also endangers a lot of people, doesn't it? I mean, there are a lot of people who need power, right? So it's just not really the smart thing to do, just to put up the masks every year. I mean, yeah, it's great that they do it, but just bloody bury the thing. It costs more, but it'll fix it, Like fire protection with wooden houses. Yes. All right, so miltflation. Hi, my name says, is it rude for someone new to ask about a specific stock? No, it's not at all. I mean, I will judge you depending on the stock you ask about, obviously, but you are very, very welcome to. No, it's a free for all around here, and I will do my utmost to answer the more sensible questions. We can't sort of, well, I'll try to take them all. But let me give you a quick recap here. So basically, inflation has peaked up a little. 0.1% higher than expected. It's not massive, but it's still not what we wanted to hear. We also have still falling wages, basically, in real terms since 2020. Yes, you're getting paid less than you were 4 years ago. Welcome to inflation. And they're printing money again. That red line here is M2, which is money. The blue line is inflation. And, okay, I extended the line here a little bit, so obviously, hopefully that isn't going to happen. But if you look at how the blue line moves with the red line, which is money, you see that the Fed is solely responsible for all inflation because they print the money, right? Well, the US government creating debt is to some extent also kind of printing money. But what we want to make sure is that, well, we don't want to go back up, do we? Because if we did that, we'd go back to the 1970s, which looked like this. Green line, 70s. Red line, right now. So we're here. And if it picks back up, then we relive what well, I wasn't alive in the 1970s. I might look it, but I wasn't alive in the 1970s. So little concerning. One data point isn't that important. Though I think the dream of another big rate cut is definitely out of the window. If you read the FOMC minutes from yesterday, basically it seems that a lot of the Fed presidents were not really massively in favor of the big cut. So they're very unlikely to back another one here. Anything else that we got going on here? Oh, yes, we've got also more people unemployed, which is sort of higher inflation and more unemployment. Yay. It's not really what the market wants, is it? But it's taking it reasonably well. Well, big tech's down about 0.5% to 1%. Amazon's up. Tesla is up 0.5 point. It's not a lot, but it's a little bit. Little bit of caution, really, in the market here. Nothing horrible. Oil is picking up a little bit there, a bit more tension, sable rattling there in the Middle East. I just spoke to a friend in Israel. They seem all right in Tel Aviv. They only had to get up twice this week in the middle of the night to hide in a bunker, which doesn't sound like much fun. But on the plus side, he's also my coach and trainer. And I did my first handstand today at the age of 44, which I thought was rather lovely. And it goes to show something I've never managed to do all my life. I get myself a coach, and 6 weeks later, I'm upside down. I'm very, very happy about it. So, get yourself coaches to achieve the goals that you want to achieve. Bjark, thanks for the like button smash there. 1,400 people live, 247 hit the like button. That means 1,150 are either too intoxicated to find the button or are just doubtful whether this is something that it's worth spending potentially an entire calorie on, because that's allegedly what you burn when you press that button. At least they have bunkers. They do, actually. They have bunkers either underneath the building, or the more modern ones have it like in your apartment. There's literally a room that is a bunker. So it's sort of reinforced with doors and window shutters and all that, which sounds good, but it's not really what you want to be doing at 4 a.m, right? Bundling the baby into the bunker room. So most people use those rooms as children's rooms. So the children are already in there and you don't have to wake them up. But yeah, it's a strange way to live. I do hope they figure out a way to put an end to it at some point. But yeah, we'll see on that one. Will the unemployment numbers, inflation affect biotech? Likely, I would say. So we've got, what is it, XBI, which is the biotech ETF. It's down yesterday. It's trading at 95.85. So it's below that low there. It might come to a point where we just have to exit this trade and call it quits. It doesn't look particularly wonderful right now, does it? Actually, there's a day chart now, is there? Month chart? Getting quite fancy here, aren't we? It's nice to see the developers are doing something. No, they do a lot. Seriously, every single dollar you guys give us for Trade Vision pays for the development team. Like, it just goes straight back into more features. So that little indicator here, it's been very good actually on XBY, right? 23% up, buy and hold, 14% down. So buy and hold sucks. Panic room, yeah, sort of, but for bombs, not for someone burglaring you. I think a panic room is probably quite a good idea. I'm looking to maybe build a house. I think I'll definitely do that. Probably have a little apartment that is panicked room, reinforced doors and walls and that sort of thing. I think it's just a sensible thing to do, to be honest with you. And maybe I'm a bit of a prepper there, but Wigglefish, I used to live in Israel. Those bunkers are everywhere. Every household has gas masks. They're always prepared. Yeah, it's a strange way to live, isn't it? Michael, okay, you were trying to flog the wife online. Yes, eBay apparently very good prices. Please say something interesting, says our French visitor. Yeah, I can't really say anything interesting about France, I'm afraid. You asked for it. Bloody French everywhere. There is a saying the Brits have, and I'm not British, it's far worse, German, that France is a lovely country if it wasn't for the French. Yes, Europe is all harmony. Everybody loves each other. Absolutely, yes. We like the croissants. We like the Côte d'Azur. Okay, I'll stop there. I think you don't deserve any more flogging, do you? He still hasn't learned anything. Well, maybe you haven't listened yet, my friend. Well, I made you laugh, so there is something, right? There is something. Okay, I like the hearts there, my friend. I do like France. I spend time there every year. I have a place there, so it's one of my favorite places. But yeah, there is something about the service that certainly makes us smile. Let's have a quick look at Doomberg. DeSantis says Hurricane Milton's damage likely less than Ian's. The names are funny, aren't they? Milton. I mean, Milton is sort of your friendly, slightly rotund old neighbor who waves at you and, reads the newspaper, that sort of thing. And Ian is just, it's just weird that you name them these things. Can you come up with something a bit more ferocious? I think they probably should. Food and shelter costs stoke hotter than expected US CPI. Good that the Fed doesn't care about food and shelter. They generally like to exclude it. MJ, you want to be judged on the MJ stock? All right, let's pull that up for you. You're very kind. So we will gladly do that. I'll put it in, what is that? ETFMG, Alternative Harvest ETF. What the heck does that stand for? Well, looks like a fairly horrible investment, doesn't it? So it was trading at $10. It's now at $3.14. Okay, let's pull it in here. MJ. I thought it was some sort of Michael Jackson related stock, you know, but sadly not. It is, what does it do? Miscellaneous Investment Trust Mutual Funds. Okay, never heard of it. Never heard of it. From a chart point of view, purely, where's our chart? Here's our chart, MJ. So I use Trade Vision, which is what we built to look at charts, generally speaking. Gives me live position data and stuff like that. If it loads, when it loads. It's, okay, so it's trading below the 200 to below the 150. That's kind of all you need to know. Nothing good has ever happened below those moving averages. Unless you fundamentally believe in this so strongly that you're willing to buy a falling knife because in 2 years' time it's going to be worth, 100. I get that, but I just still don't do it. I buy things when they start to break out because it's a lot less misery and back holding. And in the time period where you are below the 150, you could be putting your money into something that's actually going up rather than holding the bloody thing. And the problem with a chart like this is, and there's a lot of problems with a chart like this. Oh, that's a 5-minute chart. Okay. But it probably looks the same on a day chart, doesn't it? Given that horrendous drop. Yeah, okay, we just have to. Yeah. So yeah, still below the 150. Okay, the positive is you got quite a long period of going nowhere, which starts to, since April 2023, that starts to shake out all the back holders, but you still have a lot of back holders. Just think about it. All the poor bastards who bought here, right? They all want to get out. So you buy in, you're the exit liquidity, right? So you're just buying it from one of these guys who's just tired of it. And that's going to happen as the stock goes up. It's still going to happen. All these people are still going to sell. So generally, I'd look back for 2 years and try to look for very little resistance, right? As in very little overhead back holders. So that's what I would look at. Looks like they should stick with normal harvest. I agree with you. I have no idea what they do. Micron's losing stream. How do you feel about Lilium? I think long-term, I'm excited about those kind of companies. And I think Lilium is probably one of the potentially better one there. But it's 9 out of 10 of these companies will go out of business, right? It's a question of who can get funding. It's trading at 77 cents. The chart says, run, right? Very, very simple. Let it go sideways for another year. Let interest rates really come down. And then, maybe we'll buy it at $2 or $3 if it really recovers. But at the moment, I would just stick the hell away from it. It's not very much fun with holding things that are just not really going anywhere, right? And it's not advice, my friend. It's just my perspective. Just obviously do with it as you wish. It's just I have a rule for not buying stuff that's not going anywhere. There's very, very clear rules that we have for when we buy. Palantir, well, that's been going absolutely marvelously, hasn't it, really? PLTR. We called a buy signal here at 26 last. It's now at 42 and still strong today. They don't care about inflation or any of that. And what I looked at today, which I thought was kind of interesting, is, okay, so these little lines here in Trade Vision, and there's a week's trial, by the way, just test it out, see if you like it. They are your resistance, right? So 42, okay, 42 is still a little bit there for the week. Want to make sure we stay above that. A little bit at 45. Go to the end of October, and look what happens. The resistance moves to $50. So the market seems to be genuinely believing that this stock is going to keep going up. That's what it's saying. Doesn't mean it has to, but it's a good indicator because that green line is actual market positioning. It's not something that we, put out of our backside. Felix used to go to Diddy's freak-offs when he was a banker. Oh, I wish. Panic or hold. If in doubt, always panic. I think that's always the good idea. Just panic. Yeah. Panic selling is always a good idea. What do you think about Ferrari? Oh, love it. I think it's an amazing company. Amazing company. The way they make you wait. It's sort of the MS of cars, right? And the whole club thing around it and stuff. I don't have a Ferrari. I've got friends who've got a couple of them, and they love the Ferrari club and the social events, and they just want to get, they're hoping to, if they buy enough of these, then they'll eventually be able to allow to buy one of the more expensive models, that kind of thing. It's a brilliant business model. Now, it's making out with its 50-day moving average line here, slightly below that. Could be another bounce up. Could be. We had that long sort of consolidation thing here. That's quite nice. Breakout again, which is pretty good. People are always going to say it's overvalued. I just think the true luxury brands, they can charge whatever they want. So I think it's one of those. That's my opinion. James says, you don't understand why for-profit electric companies don't spend money on underground cables. Yeah, that's what I think. I think it's a government thing. Only the government will build infrastructure at a loss, right? So the government has to say, I'm going to give you a grant or a loan for 1% or whatever, and you have to build them, and then leave it at that, and then you have to maintain them. That's normally how it works. Like, utilities are never truly private because it's a monopoly, and there's got to be government regulation around what they charge. Otherwise, they just charge you so much you couldn't afford to keep the lights on, right? So I think infrastructure is one of those places where government actually has to step up. $50 there, down, so plenty of evidence. I don't know. I don't know what Diddy is up to. I mean, a man who called himself Puff Daddy originally might be a little bit in that name there. I don't know. Obviously, just speculating. No idea. Righty ho then. So where are we as the market is now officially open? As our French friend would say. Where were we? We were here, right? So let's have a quick look at the big ones. NVIDIA. I'll try to open a 5-minute chart here to see what the heck's going on. This was the 8:30 candle. We're at 8:33 now. We're doing all right. I mean, 132. It's not terrible on NVIDIA. I would argue Tesla. Let's have a look at that. Big day, obviously, for Tesla. Robo-taxis. Elon called it a product launch event on X yesterday, which is kind of an interesting choice of words. And we're trading, down here, 239, which is a little bit below where we'd like to be. So is that right, 239? Seriously, what the heck happened there? Or is our data a little bit slow over there? Let's have a look. We're at 240. Okay, so our data is still a little bit laggy on that. I'll stick to this chart for the moment. Till we get the data live by the minute over there at the beginning of the day. So, okay, yeah, Tesla, a little bit of a nosedive. Lost about a percentage point since the market opened. Nothing extreme, but a little bit down. NVIDIA is only 0.5% down. Microsoft, Island Build stock is down 0.6%. Amazon looked green before pre-market. Yep, still a percentage point up. So what about some of our, say, biotech down a percentage point? Why? Because it's rate sensitive. What about the Fintech ETFs? There is one called, what is it called? FinX, isn't it? Yeah, Global Fintech ETF, also down 0.5 point. SoFi is down 1.5 points because interest rates really matter to them. So you kind of expect that today, that interest rate sensitive stuff's going to get walloped a little bit. Not massively, but a little bit. Will Lucid deliver? I wouldn't hold my breath on that one, personally. UK are considering including assets in their budgets. Might get some infrastructure products. Well, remember that the lovely Tony Blair government are the ones who basically sold off all your infrastructure to private equity. I used to be a lawyer at that time in the UK, and the deals were horrendous, like horrendous. And the government accepted it because they didn't understand it. And it's burdened the UK with like double the debt load it should have. Absolutely ridiculous. Probably just incompetence. Maybe it's corruption. I don't know what. See what this government does. PayPal's coming down. Well, again, you'd expect that a little bit. It's a rather rate-sensitive beast, down 3% here. So yeah, it's just the momentum, isn't it, really? Momentum of, whoops, we'd like rate cuts, and now we're not going to get any for a little while. So we'll see. We'll see. Like the latest wind power deals. Yeah, those are mostly also bollocks. I also used to do a bit of wind power stuff. The law firm I worked for was mostly energy and infrastructure. So we did a lot of the NHS hospital deals and just that kind of stuff, M6 and all those kind of motorways and wind farms and stuff. And we didn't act for the government. So let's just say the government got royally screwed because they had idiots as lawyers, didn't want to spend the money. They used their own lawyers. So yeah, big mistake, big mistake. Like to change a light bulb in a British hospital costs, I don't know, $350 or something like that, because the contractor's got a 20-year deal to rip you off. Very, very simple. They're not allowed to go out and buy their own. Ludicrous contracts that are like 30 lever arch folders long or something. So nobody understands them, which was the whole point of the thing. Now, Nike leaps. Oh, I don't know. Again, I see. I'm a fan of stuff that's trending up. You see, and if you look at Nike right now, I mean, let's just go back to. Why am I moving everything around today? Just go back to the simple chart of Nike and zoom out a little bit here. I'll do that for you. If you look at Nike, this is in Trade Vision, so grab yourself a week's trial to it by all means. And what do you see? 2 years of kind of going down, right? We're at the very bottom of that. What does it mean to you? Well, not only is it down 50%, or is it 50%? Yeah, buy and hold minus 50%. If you traded it, at least you'd be at break even, minus 2%. The people who bought here, the people who bought here, the people who bought here, they all went out. That's the problem, the psychological problem with that. So you go higher, you get $100. Everybody who bought at 95 to 100 is exiting the sinking ship, right? So it takes a long time to break out of these things. You need a long period of sideways frustration to shake out all the bag holders, basically. So that's why I, worry about these kind of stocks. Are you going to watch the Tesla event tonight? I'll watch it. Yes, I'll watch it. I'm not going to stream it. I'll definitely cover it, see what the interesting bits are and pull those out and explain them. Yeah. Why is NVIDIA rising? Because it's an insanely good business. That's really the answer to that. If you want to learn how we make money, how we're literally up 96, 94% so far this year, come and join me on Tuesday at 8 p.m. New York time at felixprehn.com/bootcamp. It's completely free of charge. And learn how we do what we do. If you want to play around with our little indicator that, for example, if you'd bought SPY at the beginning of 2022, you'd be up 19%. Woohoo. If you traded it like we had, you'd be up 34%. Obviously, past performance, not, predictor of future performance and that sort of thing, but it seems to be working rather well at present. Tesla saying, Palantir, well, you need software like Palantir to actually make. I mean, the NHS has spent, this is the British Health Service, they spend billions on their own IT systems, and of course they don't work. The only people who make money out of it are the bloody consultants. So with Palantir, you don't need the bloody consultants, it just bloody works. So I think people have to jump over the shadow that it's some sort of CIA spy operation. Your bone fracture isn't all that interesting, let's face it, so let's just use something that actually works. Tesla, turkeys are often fat before slaughter. Yeah, we'll see. Traditionally, Tesla events are not exactly great for the stock price. This one could be different. Who knows? IBKR or Tasty for a UK user? I'd go with Tasty. I think it's a little more user-friendly, to be honest with you. Webull is also now available there. I use it for stock trading. I quite enjoy it. It's very, very easy to use. So hopefully that helps. And there we are. Grab yourself a trial to Trade Vision. There's a link down below. There it is, tradevision.io. Play with that and come and join me on Tuesday and learn how we actually make money. felixprehn.org/bootcamp. And go and do some handstands today. It's really fun. Honestly, 44 years old, never done a handstand before in my life. Today was the day where we popped the handstand cherry. So there we are. Maybe Elon will break a window again. Ahmed is Palantir guy, not Tesla, right? He might stream it. He's a lovely guy. I had him on the channel once. He's a very nice guy. Last time he said EH was risky. What do you think today? Yeah, opinion hasn't changed. Opinion hasn't changed on that one. Tesla is a Palantir girl first, a Tesla girl second. Brilliant. Appreciate you joining in. And we got up to 440 likes, which means only 800 of you are too sozzled to find the like button. So that's an improvement. I thank you for tuning in. We'll be live again tomorrow, same time, same place. Come and join us. We'll have some fun. And I wish you all the best.